Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Modi arrives in New Delhi after a successful tour to the United States and France. India and the US have set an ambitious trade goal of more than doubling trade to $500 billion US. US Vice President J.D. Vance urges European officials to stem illegal migration on the continent during his speech at the Munich Security Conference. More than 500 million devotees have taken a holy dip at the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj, creating a new world record for any religious congregation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in New Delhi after successfully completing a two-nation visit to France and the United States this week. During his travels, the Prime Minister held productive talks with global leaders, reinforcing India's growing presence on the world stage. During his visit to France this week, the Prime Minister had called for India and France to be a force for global transformation. He had co-chaired the AI Summit, the Artificial Intelligence Summit in Paris earlier, and then held a bilateral meeting in the port city of Marseille with President Macron. A significant highlight of the Prime Minister's visit to the United States was his meeting with the US President Donald Trump and also American officials, where they set an ambitious trade target of doubling bilateral trade to about $500 billion US. The leaders also pledged to boost defense technology cooperation in space, air, missile, maritime and undersea sectors. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded his high-stakes meeting with President Donald Trump in Washington, D.C., focusing on strengthening trade, defense and strategic ties between India and the United States. And this visit highlighted the deepening partnership and also mutual commitment, to address global challenges. Here's the report.
Donald Trump greeted India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a warm hug and a long handshake at the White House, calling him a great friend. The warmth extends beyond this meeting, reflecting increased trust and partnership in defense platforms. The leaders emphasized their strategic alignment and commitment to a dynamic defense partnership, announcing plans for a new 10-year US-India major defense partnership framework this year.
अमेरिका की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। स्ट्रैटेजिक और ट्रस्टेड पार्टनर के नाते हम जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट, जॉइंट प्रोडक्शन और ट्रांसफर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी की दिशा में सक्रिय रूप से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
The leaders pledged to boost defense technology cooperation in space, air, missile, maritime and undersea sectors. The US will review its policy on fifth-generation fighters and undersea systems for India.
In 2017, my administration revived and reinvigorated the Quad security partnership. In our meeting today, the Prime Minister and I reaffirmed that strong cooperation among the United States, India, Australia, and Japan, and it's crucial really to maintaining peace and prosperity, tranquility, even in the Indo-Pacific.
India's fifth-generation fighter jet, AMCA, will be operational by 2028, with the project director saying that India is progressing from 5 to 5+ to 6 at a rapid pace.
The stealth is being achieved by shaping number one, supported by the radar absorbing structures, for which a special materials have to be developed. That with the help of the DRDO labs and CSIR labs, indigenously we have developed it and we have achieved a high technology readiness level with those materials.
India also has offers from Russia for joint development of a fifth-generation fighter jet. And now the US has also offered its latest fighter jet to India. Experts see the US-India major defense partnership as a strategic facilitator within the Quad calculus, with Australia and Japan possessing these capabilities. China and Pakistan both possess stealth capabilities, with China providing stealth fighters to Pakistan.
रूस ने भी हमको Su-57 का ऑफर किया है और रूस ने ये भी कहा है कि वो तो हमको अपने देश में प्रोडक्शन भी करने देंगे। तो ये हालांकि एक बहुत वेलकम साइन है। हम अपना भी आम का एक तो इसको हमें स्पीड अप करना पड़ेगा।
The fifth generation stealth fighter jet of the United States is one of the most advanced and versatile fighter jets in the world. It is an advanced, versatile jet with three variants for diverse military needs. The first, F-35A, which is for conventional takeoff and landing. The second is F-35B, which is used for short takeoff and vertical landing. And last but not least is the F-35C, which is a carrier-based variant designed for the US Navy. Key features include stealth technology that reduces radar signature for evading enemy detection, advanced sensors that fuse data from multiple sources for superior situational awareness. It also has the capability to conduct electronic warfare and intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities. India and the US have vowed to enhance military cooperation across all domains through improved training, exercises, and collaborations on futuristic technology. With inputs from Shubhendu Ghosh, Bureau Report, DD India.
India and the United States are setting the stage for a groundbreaking trade partnership with ambitious goals in mind, and the two world powers, they have one shared vision. Let's look at this report.
The issue of tariffs was a sticking point between the two countries right from the beginning of the visit. But the talks happened in a conducive environment with both sides putting out their concerns, and the leaders mandated their officials to work out a comprehensive deal on trade that addresses the issue of tariffs and market access.
In a historic announcement on Thursday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump unveiled their target to boost bilateral trade to a staggering $500 billion by 2030, doubling the current figures. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening economic ties between the oldest and largest democracies.
अमेरिका के लोग राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के मोटो मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन यानी मागा से परिचित है। भारत के लोग भी विरासत और विकास की पटरी पर विकसित भारत 2047 के दृढ़ संकल्प को लेकर तेज गति शक्ति से विकास की ओर अग्रसर है। अमेरिका की भाषा में कहूं तो विकसित भारत का मतलब मेक इंडिया ग्रेट अगेन यानी मिगा।
Energy security for India has emerged as a key issue in trade talks. PM Modi highlighted the importance of increasing oil and gas trade to ensure India's energy security. The two countries are also ramping up their cooperation in the nuclear energy field, especially in the development of small modular reactors.
द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2030 तक 2 गुना से भी अधिक बढ़ाकर $500 बिलियन तक पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है। हमारी टीमें एक पारस्परिक लाभकारी ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को शीघ्र संपन्न करने पर काम करेगी।
The announcement comes as the US and India work towards finalizing a mutually beneficial trade agreement that would focus on cutting tariffs and improving access to each other's markets. As both nations look to expand trade, the issue of tariffs remains a topic of discussion. The proposed trade deal aims to reduce these barriers, making it easier for businesses to thrive on both sides.
We're just going to get along well. We're going to get along with all countries. We're going to do very well. We're going to be doing, I think, record business, record numbers. And we're going to work with India also. We have some very big trade deals to announce in the very near future.
The key takeaway from PM Modi's US visit is clear. India and the US are working hand in hand towards a future of shared growth and opportunity. With a focus on energy, defense, and trade, the two nations are setting a new course for bilateral ties and partnerships. Amritpal Singh from Washington, D.C., DD India.
A major breakthrough in counter-terrorism efforts as US President Donald Trump has approved the extradition of Tawahur Rana, an alleged plotter of the 2008 Mumbai attacks, to face justice in India. This comes as Prime Minister Modi and President Trump issued a strong call to Pakistan to bring the perpetrators of the 26/11 attacks to justice without delay.
Significant move, the United States has approved the extradition of Tawahur Rana, a Pakistani origin Canadian citizen and a suspect behind the 2008 Mumbai attacks that killed over 160 people.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that my administration has approved the extradition of one of the plotters and one of the very evil people of the world, and having to do with the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack, to face justice in India. So he's going to be going back to India to face justice.
The announcement came during a joint press conference as President Donald Trump hosted Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House, marking their first bilateral meeting since Trump's second term began. Rana is an associate of Pakistani-American terrorist David Coleman Headley. Headley was one of the main conspirators of the 26/11 attacks at Mumbai. The US Supreme Court on the 21st of January declined to hear a review petition from Rana on extradition. India has been working with American authorities for the early extradition of Tawahur Rana.
On Tawahur Rana, I think I addressed this in an earlier press conference as well. This is an issue on which the US authorities have taken very clear decisions. I think you've seen the president announce it himself from the White House podium, the decision of the United States to extradite him. It's reflected there in the joint statement as well. We are working on the logistics of this, his surrender and extradition to India. There are a few final steps to be completed. The two sides are in touch on this particular issue.
In a clear message to Pakistan, both the leaders called for an expedited trial against those responsible for the Mumbai and Pathankot attacks. In a joint statement released after the meeting, both the leaders emphasized the global scourge of terrorism that must be fought and terrorism's safe havens eliminated from every corner of the world. The joint statement further highlighted the need for stronger cooperation in tackling terrorist threats from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba to prevent any further attack on humanity. Rana was based in Chicago and was convicted in 2011 and later sentenced to 13 years in prison. He is currently lodged at a Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles. Bureau Report, DD India.
In the latest news now from Israel and Hamas's ceasefire, Hamas, they've published the names of 3 hostages that are going to be released on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The hostages are Sasha Alexander Trufanov, Sagoy Dekel Chen and Lea Horn. And all these hostages are due to be released on Saturday. They were seized, in fact, from the kibbutz Nir Oz, which is one of the communities around the Gaza Strip. Israelis have expressed their happiness and excitement at the news of the release of these 3 hostages on Saturday. Speaking about the release of his son, the father of the American-Israeli hostage, Sagoy Dekel Chen, has said that it's the result of cooperative efforts.
The force of President Trump's tweet about 2 months ago and subsequent statements and tweets by him and incoming administration officials have made a difference amongst all the parties. So I don't think this should become a credit war between the administrations, or should be looked at that way by the media. And this is a cooperative effort.
Still to come here on DD India Live. The US Vice President J.D. Vance holds talks with Zelensky. We'll be getting you more on that. RBI imposes restrictions on the Mumbai-based New India Cooperative Bank.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolved through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. The Munich Security Conference 2025 is currently drawing global attention, with leaders from around the world gathering to discuss pressing security issues. Key figures like the US Vice President J.D. Vance and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are addressing this event, which is discussing Europe's security, while tensions continue with Russia's absence from the event. Here's a closer look at the discussions shaping the international landscape.
Germany is hosting the 61st Munich Security Conference 2025, which will continue till 16th February. The conference is being attended by over 60 leaders of countries and governments. The US, Russian and Ukrainian officials are taking part in this important conference. US Vice President J.D. Vance has urged Europe to spend more on defense as he arrived for the Munich Security Conference. Speaking at the Munich conference, Vance urged European officials to stem illegal migration on the continent. He also pitched for Europe's bigger role for managing its own security.
No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants. But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of these concerns, but you don't have to agree with me. I just think that people care. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense.
Russia is not attending the Munich Security Conference this year as it has not been invited. Russia's Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, slammed the event, saying it has shifted from a security-focused platform to one that supports Kyiv and promotes policies harmful to Europe's own security. Moscow's absence marks another sign of deepening divisions between Russia and the West.
Russian officials are not invited to the Munich Security Conference. This decision was made several years ago. It is a politicized decision. It is a strange decision. So representatives of the Russian Foreign Ministry as well as other Russian officials, structures and agencies will not attend. This I can tell you for sure.
Vance is also meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is also in Munich for the conference. Briefing media on the sidelines of the conference, Zelensky said that Europe would unite around Ukraine for its own national security reasons.
In any case, Europe will increase unity around Ukraine. It is important. I am speaking about all kinds of support. It will be for their own protection.
Meanwhile, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius has criticized the US approach to dealing with Russia, saying any negotiations to end the war in Ukraine must involve Europeans.
Wer sitzt mit am Verhandlungstisch?
It's about our neighborhood, and that's why we Europeans have to be involved in the negotiations. And of course, this issue has not yet been resolved in the short time available.
Nach Presseinformationen.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said that Europe must come up with concrete plans for Ukraine.
I really believe what Europeans have to do now is to come up with the concrete plans. One, to get more military aid into Ukraine. Secondly, to get more training into Ukraine.
The Munich Security Conference has begun days after US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin held watershed talks that have shaken Ukraine and NATO allies of the United States almost 3 years after Russia launched its full-scale attack. Bureau Report, DD India.
India Energy Week 2025 has wrapped up, solidifying India's role as a global energy powerhouse. Here's our report.
India Energy Week 2025, the world's second largest energy conclave, has concluded on a high note. With a record number of exhibitors and participants, the event showcased India's bold strides in green energy, international partnerships, and oil and gas exploration. Union Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri called this edition of India Energy Week a resounding success, highlighting its role in driving business transactions rather than just discussion.
This is perhaps unique, it is different, it is larger. You don't have just petroleum and natural gas. You've had discussions here on green energy, major chunk on biofuels, a lot of emphasis on green hydrogen, a lot of discussion on compressed biogas, and I can go on and on.
Among the standout innovations was a cost-effective biofuel conversion kit for 2- and 3-wheelers, highlighting India's push for cleaner mobility. Another major highlight was India strengthening its energy ties with the US, aiming to boost natural gas consumption from 6% to 15% of its energy mix. In a historic move, the government also announced its largest ever oil and gas exploration bid round covering 200,000 square kilometers. Experts believe this could unlock significant hydrocarbon reserves. India also reaffirmed its commitment to green hydrogen, targeting 5 million metric tons of annual production by 2030. With landmark policies, global collaborations, and groundbreaking innovations, India Energy Week 2025 has set the stage for a cleaner and more energy-secure future. Next year, the event moves to Goa, promising an even bigger platform for energy transformation. Akshay Dongre, DD India.
The RBI has imposed several restrictions on the Mumbai-based New India Cooperative Bank due to supervisory concerns. Let's understand more in this report.
On the 13th of February, the Reserve Bank of India imposed restrictions on New India Cooperative Bank, prohibiting it from approving or renewing loans and advances, making investments, or incurring any liabilities without prior RBI approval. In addition, withdrawals from savings or current accounts will not be permitted. However, depositors may set off loans against their deposits under certain conditions. Since the issuance of this direction, bank customers have swarmed their respective branches for seeking clarity on their hard-earned money deposited in the bank accounts.
Financials of the banks are concerned. There was a stress, which is definitely can be seen. They were incurring losses, and RBI as a regulator, supervisor, was very closely monitoring this bank.
The reasons which led RBI to impose restrictions are financial instability and governance concerns. The RBI steps in when a bank is unable to meet obligations, protecting depositors' money from potential losses. The bank may have been facing liquidity issues and declining capital adequacy, making it difficult to meet depositor withdrawals. Rising non-performing assets could have weakened its financial health. Possible mismanagement of financial irregularities in loan disbursements, violation of banking regulations and prudential norms set by the RBI. To prevent a situation where the bank collapses, restrictions like withdrawal limits and operational curbs are imposed. Cooperative banks must comply with minimum capital cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio requirements. If a bank fails to meet these norms, the RBI takes action to restore financial discipline. Here, the bank's license has not been cancelled and it continues to operate under the RBI monitoring. If the financial position improves, the restrictions could be lifted or modified. What happens now? The RBI will closely monitor the financial situation of New India Cooperative Bank, and if the bank can restore stability, the restrictions may be lifted or eased. If not, further action like merger, restructuring, or even cancellation of the license may follow. Depositors are eligible to claim up to 5 lakh rupees per account under the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. The RBI and DIC GC will process claims if necessary, ensuring some protection to depositors. If the bank is unable to recover, the RBI may facilitate a merger with a stronger bank. In past cases, struggling cooperative banks have been merged with larger co-op or commercial banks to safeguard depositors' interests.
RBI's restriction on the New India Cooperative Bank highlights the vulnerabilities the Indian cooperative banking sector is facing. While the situation remains uncertain, RBI's intervention in the matter is to prevent the complete collapse of the bank and protect the depositors' money as much as possible. Shama Mishra, DD India, Mumbai.
More than 500 million devotees have taken a holy dip in the Holy Triveni at the Mahakumbh 2025 in the Indian city of Prayagraj so far. The surprising number of visitors is a great indicator of the faith and devotion among people, with the grand festival being an exemplary confluence of India's spirituality, unity, equality and harmony. That's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Thank you for watching. And for those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and the world on the DD India mobile app, which you can download from both the iOS and Android platforms. The QR code is available, as you can see. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark, and from all of us here in Delhi, thank you for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.